Hi, and thanks for joining us today. On the show today, we have Chris Hamilton. He is a 25-year veteran of sales and marketing, and having worked with companies as large as Microsoft, IBM, and Acklands, servicing the Canadian oil and gas sector, and experienced in startup companies in both Canada and the US. Chris is the co-author of an Amazon best-selling marketing book by Jeffrey Gitomer titled Social Boom, and he operates a sales tip blog that has risen to the top 0.2% of websites online. Wow, quite some accolades there, Chris.
It sounds like it's quite the accolades, but in fact, I enjoyed every bit of it. So thanks for having me on, by the way.
Great. Well, look, today we're going to talk about this whole concept of interview marketing. You know, the idea of telling a story or showing a story, and the whole idea of the psychology of the sale being changed through that whole process of an interview as opposed to that monologue presentation style video. Chris, maybe you can give us a little bit of your experience as far as this whole process. I've seen you talk about the concept of audio-visual being really important on the internet. Could you give us a kind of a high level on the importance that for companies to get an audio-visual campaign going?
Absolutely, Kirsten. I mean, I think one of the things that it is rather aggravating when I watch or look at companies' websites without the audio-visual content. The reason being is that audio-visual, the delivery of audio-visual content or videos online, is the vast majority of the consumption on the web now. It is, according to Wired magazine, an article a couple of years ago, it was approximately 70% of the consumption online. Now that also includes Netflix, streaming videos through YouTube, and a bunch of different ways like that. But fact is, it is 70% of the web. So if you have a website that is not utilizing audiovisual content, you are actually in the minority compared to everyone else. Now, that is also moving. Cisco predicts that that's going to move to 80% within the next couple of years. And so I'll tell you, I know where I'd want to play if it was going to be on the web and part of my marketing. The other thing too that you have to look at is a strong audiovisual story is remembered 8 times more than written information and 4 times more than just audio content. So, when you put those factors together, I think the way it stands right now is that a strong audiovisual story being delivered online can create about a 72 times greater recall than just written information as it is right now. So, I mean, it's just that's where you should be playing in.
Gotcha. Well, and now moving on to the whole idea of companies marketing through video. What's the difference between creating a corporate video and promoting that and the interview marketing process?
Well, typically a corporate video is one that talks about a product or shows a product or a service off, whereas an interview, it changes the whole psychology of what's being presented. The person who's being asked the questions is typically perceived as someone who is knowledgeable in their field. So it elevates them one step higher than what people would normally think or perceive of corporate video. So, I mean, it's the quickest way to build some sort of credibility online, and it's the psychology of the whole utilizing the interview process to convey your message. And it's an education process as well, typically.
So the audience is essentially watching somebody through the eyes of the interviewer.
Absolutely.
So now, your experience in the interview process, what's involved in setting up the interview as far as you as a presenter?
Well, Kirsten, typically you have to come up with what kind of questions you'd want to be asked. In a scenario like that, what you would do is maybe think about what you're trying to convey to the intended target audience, and then kind of guide the interviewer through that process and say, here's the kind of questions that I'd like you to ask. I hate to say it's loaded, but you know what? It is actually skewed in your favor, but it does come across as you're very knowledgeable in what's going on. You can talk about it, and you can convey your education or your smarts towards that process. So that's the way I would do it. I would take a look at, in essence, understanding what it is that you want to convey and making sure that the interviewer understands that and the questions that they should be asking.
Yeah, and keep them engaged. Well, thanks, Chris, for enlightening us on your your slant on this whole process of video and interview marketing. We appreciate your time. I know you're spending a little bit of time in the sun in Arizona. We appreciate your time today.
Well, Kirsten, I appreciate being on. Thanks a lot for taking the time out to interview me as well.
Great. We've been speaking with Chris Hamilton. He is a sales blogger for salestipaday.com. Check out his website. And obviously, he's involved in interview marketing through netcastevent.com. Thanks for joining. We appreciate your time today.